We are Poppy. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another album review / reaction here on the channel. Today is a big day. Today is Saturday as we're recording this, the 24th. The 23rd had two huge albums come out. The brand new Megadeth album, which is something none of us really here cared about too much, but I went and did my reaction to that, so video for that is up now on the channel if that's interesting to you. And the new Poppy album, which is what we're here for now, here today for, and I am so excited. Chris, before we got connected here, I was looking Poppy up, and I was just going back and listening to some of her songs off of I Disagree, because I haven't heard that album for a while. Yeah. And I was thinking, you know, we were so early on the Poppy bandwagon. We, really, I mean, because I've been a fan of her since before she was really making metal music at all, but when she was just a little kid doing the I'm Poppy thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, remember Meat?
Yeah.
Like, from the EP, where it's like, oh my.
Yes.
What if she does this from now on?
Yeah. And then she made a metal album, and then she made two pop, or kind of like a 90s grungy type of album, and then a pop album. And then last year, or 2 years ago, she released an album that we both sort of decided was the number one album of the year. I think it was your number one that year on your list, and it was number two on my list back in 2022. Her album Negative Spaces, which I actually have brought my copy right here.
So good.
We loved this album, and so, but it's so funny because I went back and I was listening to some of the songs off of I Disagree, and man, they are not mixed as well as you probably remember them being mixed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're not terrible, but like Concrete, especially the first track, the vocals are so loud compared to the heavy metal stuff that like it's not. It was mixed like a pop song with metal behind it. But then there are other songs on that album that are full on like crazy.
That's impressive, because I mean, I have listened that was one of the things I remember lauding about, like how difficult it would be to produce and mix a song that switches genres like that.
Right. And I think that album was actually your number one that year as well.
It was, yeah. And it was a January 2020 release or something to that effect. And here we are with another January Poppy release, and maybe now it'll be up to every other band in the world to find a reason to keep this from being number one.
Yeah, exactly. Because there have already been some good stuff, and there is a lot of good stuff coming out. Next month, on the same day, we get Gorillaz, Archive, and Rob Zombie on the same day. And a lot of people don't care about, like Archive is one of my favorite bands, and the last time I did a reaction to them here on the channel, it got blocked, so I don't think I'll be able to do a reaction to that one. But Rob Zombie's a big deal. He only releases an album like every 4 or 5 years. And Gorillaz, their last album was really fantastic sounding and really great. And so I'm excited for all that stuff. But there's also a lot of other good stuff that's still coming out, and so it's going to be a great year. I'm feeling it in my bones. It's going to be a great year.
Fingers crossed for Convey.
Too. People keep posting like, "What's your most anticipated?" I've seen a couple posts on Facebook of like, "What's your most anticipated album of 2026?" And every time I at Raunchy and say Raunchy's new album, if they get off their ass and actually release it. And like I said, I think I'm becoming the like guy that craps on Raunchy on Facebook until they actually release their album thing. So I hope that they take it kind of funny, because if there's one guy running their channel, he sees me at them all the time because it's
the
ridiculous.
fact that it's your most looked forward to every year, like they have to know that you just really want that album.
Yeah, and now they've passed the 10-year anniversary of their last album, so now we're in year 11 now. So it's like you missed your 10-year opportunity, so whatever. But we're here to talk about Poppy. Very excited about this. And before we get too deep into everything, I just want to say there were some of the people on our Discord didn't know this, but we have a great Discord. So head over there and check it out. We have a great metal community. People today were just saying that they really appreciate the fact that we're still small enough that you can have conversations with me. You can have conversations with everybody there. It's very respectful because we don't have 50,000 people there. We have just like, I don't even know what our number is, but we have not a lot of people there at this point, and it feels like a friend group, which is really nice.
And it's funny because it's like this is like the silver lining version of the channel isn't growing. Nobody watches these.
Yeah, but at the same time, it is true, and we have videos with lots of views. It's just a matter of trying to. But anyway, my whole point of bringing all that up was, someone was talking today about to me about why I edit or censor out swear words, and they thought that it was only one of the main reasons was because I want the video to be able to be monetized. And I was like, dude, we have made less than $100 all total on any video we've ever made. Like the entire channel has made less than $100 since I started doing reactions in 2021, because none of our videos do we get any of the ad revenue from any of the ads on it, because we include the music from the albums we're listening to in the video. So all ad revenue goes to whoever artist is that we're featuring their songs in the video. So on this video, all ad revenue, all money that this video makes will go right to Poppy or the people who own her songs.
Yeah.
Not to
or
us.
anybody other than us. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when I was telling them that, they were like, oh man, I didn't know that. I was like, well, we say it all the time, but that's totally fine. I understand if people skip our long intros and stuff and just go right to the music. But like, so that's why we now have a Ko-fi account. So if that's something,
nice.
if you like the way we do stuff, you can go donate to us once. We're going to have a Patreon eventually where you can subscribe to us if you want to. We're not going to put pressure on anybody, and we're going to always release our content like this because it's the foundational way that we've built the channel. So we're not going to change anything. But if you weren't aware of that, we just want to let you know we don't make any money on any of our videos that has music in it, which is like 98% of all of our videos.
And the real reason that he does that is so that it can be monetized.
Monetized?
Yes. You always said that you don't swear in your videos so that your mom can watch them.
Well, she's my like sort of barometer, right?
Yeah.
But we did have a nice conversation about swearing and stuff and everything on Discord. So if you want to see that conversation, you can go there and scroll way up. But
my favorite thing to do, scroll way up.
Scroll way up. Yeah, and read about why I try to censor out words. But anyway, it was a fun conversation. We've been talking about Megadeth a lot over there the last day because the Megadeth album just came out yesterday. I reacted to it. The video just came out today, this morning actually. And so we've been talking about a lot of Megadeth stuff over there. But there's also lots of Metallica and lots of Poppy, because Chris and I both love Poppy, and we've done many videos where we talk about her, including our top 12 albums of the year in the respective years where she is releasing an album. And I don't think that this year will be any different. Like Chris said, it's only January 24th, and we could be getting the #1 album of the year.
And she's a workhorse.
So,
she just keeps putting music out in a way like, I know that her previous album was now 2 years ago, but when she started dropping singles for this new album, it felt like it was the same year that the last album came out, where it's like, do you ever stop?
Yeah, she's really, and it's so, because I was looking at her numbers, and like by far her two most played songs, Chris, are the one with Bad Omens. That is like 70 million plays.
Wow.
Her #1 most played song that is just her, I think, is like 25 million. And then the song that she did that they were nominated for, and I think they won the Grammy, but I'm not sure. Her and Knocked Loose, the song she did with Knocked Loose.
Oh, I don't know that one.
That has like 35 million plays. Yeah, they performed it live on Jimmy Kimmel. And it was like the heaviest song that had ever been performed live on like late night show or anything. And Poppy does vocals for that song. That performance was nominated for best metal, or that performance was nominated for best metal performance that year at the Grammys. Okay. So Poppy is Grammy nominated, but also Spirit Box was nominated that year as well. That's when we had the debacle with Courtney LaPlante pretending she was Poppy, which we've talked about. Yeah. But so anyway, very excited for this. There we go. Thank you everybody for that. Let's get into talking about Poppy and her album Empty Hands.
Pop, pop.
Pop, pop, indeed.
I've been meaning to do that since we started the video.
That's awesome. I've been one of my reactors has been going through Community, and he's deep. He's like at the beginning of season 2 right now, and I'm just like, oh, it's so good. He hasn't gotten to my all-time favorite episode of Community, which is the bottleneck episode with the pen. When the
bottle episode, yeah.
Yeah, the bottle episode is my favorite episode of Community. I think it is the best writing. I think it's the best character work. I think it's fantastic. But he just did the one where Abed is Jesus.
Oh.
And he makes this movie. Oh, man, it's so fantastic. Anyway, yes. Pop, pop, indeed. My Community collection on DVD is one of my favorite things that I have. I actually have season 6 on DVD, which is really
good.
Cool.
I mean, the commentaries alone, like,
oh yeah, it's just as good, if not better, than watching the regular episodes. Mm-hmm. But we're here to talk about Poppy today. So yes, pop, pop, indeed. So this is my first time looking at the track listing. It's 13 songs, 38 minutes and 36 seconds. That's kind of short for 13 songs.
It is.
So as I look here, we've got, 4 minutes, 3:40, 3:14, and then a 20-second song. That's just an intro like thing. She did that on her previous album as well, so that's fine. I'm not going to fault her for that. We have 2:55, 3:33, 3:27, and then a 1:50. That's Eat the Hate. So I'm wondering if that is like a balls to the wall, crazy.
Yeah, finish the whole song all at once.
Insane thing. But it looks like for the most part, almost all the songs are above 3 minutes. Only one of the like regular length songs is under, and that's 2:55. So that's totally cool. We know Poppy can fit a good, nice, chunky song in 3 minutes. So that's awesome. And then we have 2 songs that are clearly intro or intermission songs, track 4 and track 11, which is called Blink, is only 40 seconds long.
Does your track 4 not have any play numbers on it?
It does not.
Yeah,
correct.
same.
So people must just be skipping that or whatever, which is really weird.
I was wondering if maybe it's too short to register play numbers.
You know what? I wonder if that's a good point, because it's only 28 seconds. It's less than 30. Maybe you need to people need to listen to it a lot more. But I'm surprised by how big the numbers are. Like when I went and listened to Megadeth, that was yesterday, admittedly, so it had only been out for like 12 hours at that point. Megadeth's songs that weren't singles were all less than 10,000 plays.
Wow.
So the fact that this is a lot of them are above 100,000 is pretty good.
She's at 4 million monthly.
Right. Which, speaking of that, I just had a sort of a shock. On our Megadeth video, someone recommended that I listen to the most recent Bring Me the Horizon album.
Oh, yeah.
Which I've never heard literally any single Bring Me the Horizon song. I don't think I've ever heard a single song of theirs. But they were saying that they thought I'd love the like electronic elements to it and everything, and the production is really fantastic. So I went and looked. Bring Me the Horizon has like 15 million monthly listeners.
Bring Me the Horizon's huge, man.
Yeah, Ammo, I guess.
Their 2019 album is just about flawless, front to back. So good.
That's so crazy. Good. Like, I think we've talked about them sort of tangentially over the years, but like, I have no reference for them at all. I don't even know if they sound at all like I think they sound, because to me, in my head, I think they sound like a slightly heavier, like All American Rejects.
That's not too far off the mark, but I think it also sells them kind of short.
Well, and I might be thinking of what they were back when they first started,
That's fair.
The 2010s, I would assume.
Yeah.
The early 2010s, maybe even before that. And so they're probably way different now. But like, I don't know. I would not be opposed to doing that. Although I did see, when I went and looked at their album, there was a lot of them that had like, that had like swear words on it, which is fine. I can deal with that. This album,
I think that you'd really like Ammo.
Yeah.
Actually.
I'll have to, we should look into it. We should look into it. Although I'd probably want to listen to their most recent one. That's the one people recommended, and it would be the most like relevant one. It just came out in 2024.
Nice. I'm surprised. I'm bummed that I missed it.
Yeah. So don't listen to it. We'll see. Maybe that would be a good one for us to do if someone if people want us to do that, let us know. I was just surprised. So, but track 1, track 6, track 8, and then track 13 on this album, the Poppy album, all have swear words in them of some kind. Not a big deal. That's about the same number that she had on Negative Spaces. I will edit those out for anybody watching the video, so don't worry about that. Not that you would worry. Let's see. We have the final track being only 3 minutes and 9 seconds, and it's called Empty Hands, which is the title track for the album. That makes me think that it's not going to have what I've been talking about in every reaction over the last month, something that I realize is now very important to me. A final track needs to have final song vibes, right?
I think it will.
I hope so. This is not one of the singles because it doesn't have like millions of plays. So it could be just something that's like a much simpler song, could be synth stuff, could be whatever. But I'm anxious to hear that, and I want to talk about that for a while in every reaction we do. Final song vibes. It's something I've realized is very important to me, and we need to I want to bring that up and be like, did this song have final song vibes?
Well,
or did it just kind of poop out and be a regular song at the end of the album?
And that's the thing too, is like we might have different definitions of final song vibes too. So I am interested.
I don't think so. To me, a final song vibe can be I just feel like it needs to be. Well, I mean, maybe we do, but to me, what that means is the final song on the album is a little different, or it is at least sending the album off. It's not just a regular song. It has to be. It's fitted into that final song slot on purpose.
If you had a perfect album,
Mm.
but the final song doesn't have that, it's a fantastic song, but it doesn't have the vibes, do you still consider it a perfect album, or does that?
I would consider it still a perfect album.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. It wouldn't bother me for that, but I want every album to have final song with the final song vibes. And generally what I would mean in that case is like what I'm used to, the old school way I grew up, was the final track on an album was usually an acoustic song or a ballad
Something
song.
chill, yeah.
It doesn't have to be, but I want it to be a little different, and I want it to stand out from the rest of the album in some way that shows it deserves to be the final track on the album, the track you're sending the album off with. And that just goes to the fact that I enjoy listening to albums rather than singles, and I want the artists to put a little bit of effort into track listing and think about the fact that they're making an album rather than just a single.
Yep.
So with that in mind, I have not heard any of this. Chris, I think you said you've heard the two of the big singles from this.
Yeah. Unravel for sure.
And then Bruised Sky.
And probably Bruised Sky and Guardian, but I don't remember what
Okay.
they will. I mean, once we might be like, oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But
One of the things I wanted to bring up before we listen to this and ask you what you thought, though now that I know you've heard those songs, you might have some more insight into this. I would be curious if she has said that this album is her new metal album. And maybe people were just reporting it that way after she released like the first song because it had more new metal vibes, which is really interesting to me because nowadays I don't know how you would differentiate between like more poppy, like metalcore or hardcore metal. And when I say poppy, I mean like pop music-y. Mm-hmm. How you would differentiate between that and what new metal was. Yeah. So to me, not having heard this, but having everyone at the time when she released one of the singles saying, oh, she's gone new metal, that to me says that there's probably a Korn vibe to this. That would be my guess. And we know that Poppy can do vastly different styles of production from album to album. And her last album was very like death metal / metalcore style, very clean production. And so I'm predicting on this album, having again not heard a second of this, that this album is a little bit more dirty sounding. We might hear a little bit more like guitar tone and like amp noise and maybe a little bit more room tone to the guitars or to the drums. Sorry, a little bit more room to the drums. And I want to predict that every song on this album is a heavy song, but not as heavy as her heaviness got on her previous album. So like I think there's going to be more singing on this, but I think every song is going to have distorted guitars. I don't think we'll get like a Crystalline, for example. Mm-hmm. I don't think we'll have any pop on this album at all. It will be, this is me not having heard any of this. I think every song is going to be heavy to a degree with guitars, and I think that it will be maybe a little bit of 90s production in there because that's also something people associate with nu metal, even though I personally don't necessarily. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, having heard that, or having seen people say that about this album, but not having heard any of the songs at all. So what do you have to say to that idea?
I honestly remember hearing a few of the 2 or 3 singles from the previous album and thinking that it was her nu metal album. It was because I was like, I felt like it was almost uninteresting. Like it was like, this has almost got like an Evanescence vibe where it's just like, it's heavy, but it doesn't have anything like specifically neat about it. I thought she was starting to fall into sort of like a mediocre space. Uh-huh. And I don't know. That's really interesting. I think I'm going to go and say that she's still got pop songs on here. I'm not going to, so that way, just to keep it interesting. But I do think that that's probably the case. Because I don't even think I disagree was all metal. Mm-hmm. Aside from the pop of it being within the metal songs, but every track was heavy. Mm-hmm. And I don't think she's done that since.
Right. And when I was looking at the numbers of like total plays for the songs on this album, on Negative Spaces, I was really surprised that Crystallized had such a huge number of plays. Like it was over 10 million plays, which is more than, for example, They're All Around Us, which is my favorite song from the album. Yes. Although I really did love Crystallized. Mm-hmm. But if you remember on this album, one of her big singles was No Way Out, and that's probably the one you were thinking of that was more nu metal. And when I heard it for the first time, I think you pointed out, and now I can't not hear it when I listen to it, but it sounds like a Birthday Massacre song.
There's a lot of Birthday Massacre on that album.
That song is very Birthday Massacre-y, which is really interesting. And so I don't know. And like, again, I don't really have any reason to say why I think that this album won't have any pop or electronic stuff on it. Yeah. I assume it would make sense for it to have that.
It's just fun to speculate and find more reasons to keep us from actually listening to it.
I know. So with that in mind, let's just get into it. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. This is track 1, brand new Poppy album. The album is Empty Hands, track 1, Public Domain. In 3, 2, 1. Oh boy.
Huge. Enormous.
Very cool electronic stuff.
Reminds me of Atlas by Battles. Ugh. Huge. This is great.
Yes. Vocoder stuff.
All we need is for her to do this over the chorus of some other song and be another Purity Ring massacre.
Yes, I know.
Nope, we've got vocals in the middle now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. Ooh.
Distorted vocals.
Little cowbell.
Tambourine off to the right.
Huge.
I don't like these vocals, and they're way too loud.
Yeah. That low end is gargantuan.
Yeah.
I don't think she's ever been this wide on anything other than like Motorbike.
Huh.
This is so odd.
I feel like the metal is lower quality though.
This is a style she hasn't done it before.
Yeah.
I wonder what's going to happen the rest of the song.
Yeah.
Reminds me a lot of Garbage.
Yeah, and I was thinking of that Kitty record too, because, you know, she did that cover of their song Spit. Mm-hmm. You know, and that is new metal, and this is with the distorted vocals. It is more 90s kind of production, but to me, the disparity, well, I'll talk about it when it's done.
Yeah. The biting dogs have got the itch. I think there's going to be a huge drop.
I hope so.
I have a really weird comment to make about the end of that song.
Okay, what are you thinking?
that, as awesome as that last bit was, it felt unearned. Does that make sense?
I kind of see the thing that was weird to me about that was what we were hearing there. It felt really big and heavy, like a breakdown, but the guitars weren't serving any purpose in there to make it feel big at all. Like it was the drums, which sounded, I think, pretty good. Definitely more raw sounding, I would say, than her previous albums felt very much like modern metal produced. This feels more like that might have been the real drum sounds that they actually recorded, which would be very different for her. But I have to listen to more of it before I decide whether that was probably what they did or not. But like when I was hearing the guitars there, they were doing like higher pitched stuff, like Korn type of stuff, like type, like consistent like noise thing with lots of reverb on it. And that's what the guitars were doing there. There was big synth and a bass going like, wah, 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 and that was what made it feel big. But it wasn't the guitars, which I think the production on this album was like as good as you can make modern metal, I think. And it focused less on the electronic elements. Whereas the electronic elements that were in this song, especially at the beginning, they felt way more clear and way more up in the mix and present than when the rock stuff kicked in. Or the heavier, like the band part kicked in. Which we talk about that sometimes about, oh man, the electronics sound so good and clear, and then the rock stuff wasn't recorded that well, so it's this weird juxtaposition. I'm not saying it was recorded bad, but I don't necessarily feel like they were equally proportioned in the mix.
I agree. So the electronic stuff was definitely heavier. It was the roles were effectively reversed, where it's like the guitar and bass and stuff became supplemental.
Now, I did like that her voice was distorted in the chorus. You know, and I don't want to get caught up too much on the like new metal thing because no one said that about this song, right? They said it about one of the songs. And so that's me projecting that my thought on this whole album, which this album probably isn't going to be that. But we being fans of Poppy like we are, like we were very surprised when Flux came out. Because Flux was so different sonically than I Disagree. And then she released Zig, which was just a pop album, so different. And then came Negative Spaces. And so we are used to her approaching albums differently. And we also know that on an album, she can approach every song differently production-wise. But I have to say that if every song on this album sounds equal to that quality-wise, I think I'm going to be a little disappointed.
I agree. It's really interesting because it was so wide. I don't recall her ever doing anything that was just so, like, just spread way out. Just the widest, the hugeness of it. The vocals and the music and everything, it was almost overwhelming where things were, like, getting lost within the mix.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with all those vocals at the beginning of the song.
And the vocals seemed a little low in the mix overall.
Yeah. Well, you know, and that's so funny because I had a really fun thing happen yesterday when I was listening to the Megadeth album. There is a perfect example, a very tangible, perfect example of something that I talk about all the time. And that is that when you master music, the further out on the sides something is when it's being mastered, the louder the more the mastering affects it. So the things in the middle during mastering, they're obviously affected, and you can affect frequencies and things. But when you're talking about compressing a stereo track, a master track, and one of the core functions of mastering is to make a song feel as wide as possible. So when you're mixing your song, if you have things spread far left and far right, which every mix should have things somehow spread 100% left, 100% right, rather than having things only panned in the middle, right? When you go through the mastering process, those things that are furthest out, left and right, they're the things that get affected the most by the compression. They often come up in volume. And so we've talked about that before, hearing albums where the vocals and the kick and the snare and the bass, those things that exist in the middle, kind of get swamped a little bit by the enormity of the things on the side. And when I was listening to Megadeth yesterday, this is a perfect example of something that I don't know if I would have been able to ever say it like this, but you can so clearly hear in one of the songs, there's a guitar solo that starts in the middle and it pans itself all the way to the left and then continues all the way back to the right. I know I'm doing it reverse for the image. And then all the way back to the left. And when it's in the middle, it's the perfect volume. But the further to the left it gets, the louder it gets. And then it goes back to the middle and it's fine volume again. And then it goes to the right and it gets louder. And then it comes to the middle. And that is proof of what I'm saying, that things on the outside get brought up more in volume during the mastering process. And it's just due to the way compression works and how a lot of mastering engineers work. And I do think a lot of mastering works really well. But you have to keep that in mind when you're making your mix. You might have to intentionally make things in the middle a little louder than you would compared to the outsides, understanding that things are going to be brought up and it's going to be smushed together. And
well, that's interesting because when you've got stuff that's really super wide in this particular type of scenario, is it usually a matter of having a separate left and right track that are the same? Or
no.
they're basically duplicates? Okay.
Right. No, it wouldn't be that, because you can't just have a duplicate. It wouldn't work that way. You have to have some sort of a delay or something to make the signal different on the left and the right.
I see.
And then the more you separate those things, the more they feel like separate things. Because
because I've had plenty of different situations where I've tried to make something spread way out, and I'll copy it and I'll make one hard left, one hard right. But because they're copies, total duplicates of each other, it doesn't really do what I am expecting.
Yeah.
Would the solution to that be to just offset one by the tiniest little margin?
Yes, you have to keep it within generally 19 to 21 milliseconds is what they call the fusion zone.
Awesome.
So if you delay something within you have the timing of the delay within the fusion zone, which is basically anything, if it's a really super fast transient thing, but the general rule is 21 or 19 milliseconds, but you can do less and you can do more. But if you do a longer delay than 21 milliseconds, you start to hear both signals as separate signals, right? But if you keep them within the thing that they call the fusion zone, it sounds like the same source, the same thing.
Amazing.
And that's how you create a stereo image using a mono signal. And that's
awesome.
Super common. Cody and I have actually talked about that a lot in the Beatles videos because they sort of invented that technique when they were doing their albums in the late 60s. Or they were some of the people to at least use it as predominantly as they did there. And that was their producer, George Martin, at the time figuring that stuff out, and their engineers and stuff. So very interesting. Sorry, that's a lot of technical stuff.
That's wonderful. I mean, that for me, hearing that, and now I know it, and now I get to go play around with it and make cooler stuff. That's,
Yeah. So basically what we were just talking about, for anyone who is having a hard time following, take a mono signal, separate it, add a bit of a delay, and you can make a mono signal sound like a stereo signal. And then you can use that process in mastering as well to make a full song sound a little bit wider. And there's other plugins and a lot of modern things that I'm probably not even familiar with because I don't have a ton of modern plugins that do similar things, just do it automatically within the plugin. They might not even be telling you the nitty-gritty.
That's actually something I really don't like about a lot of plugins is how often you run something through it and then it just takes that and becomes like super hardcore hard left right. And it's like, I didn't want that from you. I wanted the other thing that you do without that problem.
Yep. Yeah. And that's how stuff works, but okay, let's move on to another track. This is track 2, Bruised Sky, and this will tell us a bit about the consistency of the album from song to song. So we'll talk after this one. So this is Bruised Sky in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so this is one of the ones with 4 million plays.
Yeah, one of the singles.
Yeah. We didn't have to worry. I'm not worried.
Listen to the size of this song.
Yes. Ooh, that is Cornish.
Yeah. Cornish game hen.
Cornish. Okay. I was afraid we weren't going to get any harsh vocals. Ooh, there was like a little something on the left right before the drop. Okay.
Some Spirit Box here.
Yeah. Which, we didn't bring this up, but last year she released this song with Amy Lee and Courtney. So that could be part of this as well. Influence. We conjectured last year that we thought if she released an album this year, it would feature those two artists.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. None of these songs feature anybody else. Oh!
This is so good.
Oh, yeah. It's very Seven Dust as well. Although I hate to admit this, but Seven Dust has never had an album sound this good production-wise. They have a new album coming out in June.
I feel like I'm hearing some Bad Omens influence, some Spirit Box influence, like all the people she's been playing around with lately.
Yes, for sure. And we know she has a great team around her.
Yeah.
I will say I don't think this is as high a quality as Negative Spaces, but they're kind of going for something different a little bit. But it's pretty similar.
I love how catchy this chorus is.
Yes. Very Birthday Massacre chorus.
Yep.
Could you imagine if she went on tour with the Birthday Massacre? The Birthday Massacre would be exposed to an audience beyond all the plays they've ever gathered together combined.
Yes.
Over their 20-year career. Okay.
This is very Spirit Box.
Yeah, I could have a little bit more high frequencies in the guitars.
Yeah. Love that.
Very Birthday Massacre.
That high synth.
Yeah.
Imagine if Birthday Massacre sound like this.
Yeah, I could only wish. No third chorus.
What a jam. And
No
almost
third
4
chorus.
minutes.
Yeah. But no third chorus, I don't think, unless I was talking over it, which I do sometimes, so sorry.
Boy, I don't know. I think you might be right.
That was far superior to the first track, in my opinion.
Uh-huh.
I liked that one a lot more, but also now I'm seeing a little bit of the things that are not quite perfect. Mm-hmm. You know, the guitars there, I think, lacked a little bit of the high frequencies in them. It was really nice at the beginning, and then after the first chorus where they did the drop and stuff, and I think that's because they were supplementing it with like digital stuff. Like they put like subsonic frequencies in there under the bass, and there was more electronic things going on that maybe you wouldn't necessarily notice in the way that you watch a movie, and there's no obvious special effects, but you're like, they replaced the whole skyline and this, you know. I think stuff like that is happening under certain parts of the song, but then other parts of the song felt like it was just the band jamming, you know, or
Yes.
playing, and there wasn't a bunch of the sprinkles like we talk about all the time. And so that was where I felt a little bit of lower quality, but that is also being pretty nitpicky because it wasn't bad at all.
I remember, at one point I was thinking like this tone behind her, like I don't know if it was it might have been during the chorus. It had so little definition. It was just a brick of low, and it was like changing, the tone of it changed, but it's like, what is the source of this? Like the visual of it is when those videos of people unclogging drains and it's just a solid sludge.
Yep. I know exactly what you mean. Yes.
Just a mud tube.
Yes.
And I say it, I'm making it sound more negative than I mean it to, because it really, I don't think it sounded bad. It didn't sound muddy, but at a couple of points I thought someone really had to work pretty hard to keep these lows from just completely wiping out everything else in the song.
Yes, yeah. And Poppy, her guitars always are, at least in her heavier albums, they function as a rhythm thing, not as a lead thing. So you don't get a lot of guitar solos. And then the riffs that you're hearing, the bigness of the riffs, they're not like Metallica or Megadeth riffs where they're like, no, they are chunky type thing. It's all rhythmic based.
Yeah.
And so when you don't have those chunky chunk, or when you just have the chunky chunks, I feel like it's a little bit easier to have more high frequencies in the guitars because you're not fighting with the like lead part that may kind of conflict with the vocal, which is usually why when you take guitars and you do add a little bit of a low pass filter on them, usually you do that so that you can allow some of the cymbals and the drums, then the lead vocals to sit on the top of the guitars a little.
I was going to say, I feel like the only thing that's really carrying a melody here is her voice.
Yes. Yeah. And then they did have some interesting, like, eerie things underneath there. And I think when you were talking about this reminds me of Spirit Box, that's what you were hearing. Because Spirit Box, if you took all the drums, guitar, and bass away from a Spirit Box song, there would still be constant sound you're hearing. It's just this, like, low synth bed, ominous sound effecty stuff underneath everything. And so I think you were kind of hearing that a little bit. And that was maybe what you were talking about Spirit Box.
The Spirit Box stuff, I really was just thinking like the big slow, like dun, 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 with the vocals she was doing. Like, I don't know, but the eerie, like the pad synth stuff, like that's the Birthday Massacre thing you mentioned is like that's definitely a big part of it.
For sure. And it's the chorus was very Birthday Massacre-y, which if you're watching this video, you haven't watched our other Poppy videos, you haven't seen our Birthday Massacre videos. Birthday Massacre is a sweet band from Canada who was one of my favorite bands for many, many years. And they are one of the coolest sounding bands to incorporate heavy guitars, very cool sort of like retro 80s sort of synth pop sounding synths, and then also like Girl Next Door, innocent sounding like female vocals. So there's a lot of elements that Poppy uses. She has a little bit more in her basket that she can pull from in terms of being way heavier and having a little bit better production. But if you're interested in what I just described, please go check out the Birthday Massacre. And
honestly, they could pull that out of their basket too if they would lean over and grab it, because the basket's there and it's full of all that stuff, and they just don't want to do it. But
to be fair, though, they don't ever do, like Chibi, who's the vocalist for Birthday Massacre, she does not do harsh vocals.
No.
So there's like 4 songs on their whole career where she does this kind of like whispery, like, time is past and something kind of like that, but it's never like a, like, you know, like a Poppy with the screaming and the craziness. But they can be pretty heavy too. So yeah. Okay, let's keep going. Now I'm really excited, and I'm curious to see if we are going to get some pop stuff. When will that appear on the album, right? We noticed on Negative Spaces that when she had like a track that was 30 seconds or some sort of intermission track, usually that was sort of a signal like, okay, we're breaking the album into a new chunk. Different things might be coming next. So we'll see. The next track on Negative Spaces, the first 3 tracks were like bangers from front to back, and then from then on the album got a little crazy. So we'll see what this is. This is track 3. This is Guardian. In 3, 2, 1.
Ephemeral or eternal, where is the divide? They try to hold you to your spiral.
Clean front, middle vocals, right there.
Guitars with nice crispy frequencies in them. Oh, and now they're gone.
So many highs.
Crispy frequencies are gone. You could literally hear the high pass get turned on the guitars. Ooh!
There's so many more highs than this than the previous 2 songs.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
What is that? What is that?
Sounds like a cymbal with distortion.
I think it was like a synth thing. That was very Spirit Boxy to me.
I mean, we could have been talking about different things.
That's totally true.
There's a lot of interesting electronic elements happening under this.
Yeah. This is pretty straightforward for Poppy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm enjoying it a lot.
Yeah.
You know. Okay, what are we gonna do here? Oh, that's so funny. You can hear the real snare sound in the background with the like replaced one on top of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Very close vocal. Nice. Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
I think I liked that one the most so far, but like I said, it was a little straightforward.
Yeah, I would say that is what I was describing when I heard some of the songs on the previous album the first couple of times,
Okay.
where I was like worried about her wandering into some middle of the road, kind of a milquetoast, uninteresting version of her music, which I did not ultimately agree with after I listened to that album a few times. Like, okay, that's not true. But that is definitely her most like radio friendly song.
Yeah, I would say so. Because usually on her songs, even like on Negative Spaces, if there was a song that was more like that, there was still something to it that was a little different and unique.
Yeah. Like when this came out of the bridge, just doing the same thing as before, it's like, oh, okay, we're not going to get a drop. We're not going to get anything.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things where, like with Metallica, when at certain points, it's like this song, if this wasn't an album that said Metallica on it, this album would be great. But because it does say Metallica on it, it's pretty mid.
Okay.
And this is the kind of thing where it's like, Poppy has such a high level of quality and interesting elements about the stuff that she makes. It's like, this song is objectively at least interesting, catchy, sounds good,
Sure.
whatever. But it's a Poppy song, so it's supposed to have something a little bit special to it, and it doesn't really seem to.
Yeah, yes. But almost maybe that's the thing that's special about it, is that it didn't have anything wacky in it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Like I kind of, in my head, I keep thinking back to Flux, because Flux is not my favorite album of hers, but at the time, I just remember being so impressed that she was willing to make that album after I Disagree. And I was just like, man, that's so cool that she was totally able to do this. And I really need to go back and listen to that album more. But this isn't like that. I'm not saying that. But the idea that coming off of like the masterpiece that was Negative Spaces, how does she want to approach this? And it feels kind of like she was like, okay, well, we'll just kind of make stuff that's sort of similar, but we also know that she likes to like front load her albums with the most sort of generic-y like songs. And it was also interesting too, because when I went back and looked at her, like the play total plays for Negative Spaces, it seemed like the songs that were either the most metal or the most pop were the ones that got the most plays. And I think that speaks to sort of the duality of her fan base, right? Where it's like, there's the metal people that she got, maybe with Negative Spaces, and then being on the Bad Omens and the Knocked Loose stuff, where people are like, okay, this poppy chick rocks, you know, we can listen to some of her metal stuff. But then the people who have been there from the beginning and heard her, like, I Am a Girl, or whatever, those, her early pop songs, like, they can still enjoy the Crystallize and that kind of stuff, and the less heavy songs. But the songs on the album that were just sort of the ones that I would consider to be the sort of filler tracks, even though I wouldn't consider them filler, but the ones that I just don't think about that much, you know, like, they are the ones that had the least amount of plays. And especially knowing that the first 3 tracks on Negative Spaces is like all the 3 that were the 3, right?
Yeah, the 3.
The 3. And then after that, the only song that was sort of similar to those was the big single, which was New Way Out. Everything else had its own like weird little twist to it. So we'll just have to see moving forward if she follows that formula again, or if this album is more consistent and all the songs are sort of similar to the last 2 we've heard. And if that's the case, then this would be the most consistent album she's ever released by far.
And if this one follows a similar pattern as the last one, then we've got our intermission track next, and then possibly a change of style right after that.
Exactly. So let's see what we got. So I would say for this one, let's just listen right through this one to the next one, unless something crazy happens and we feel the need to talk about it.
Yeah.
But let's just listen right through track 4, Constantly Nowhere, and then going into Unravel, which was another one of their singles.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, Constantly Nowhere, track 4, in 3, 2, 1.
Every call was close, and now
Imogen Heap.
I know
Yep.
I am constantly
She also did stuff like this earlier on her pop stuff, her like I Am a Girl poppy album or whatever, her first couple albums.
over my shoulders. How did I know there's more to unravel?
Okay, here we go.
If every wait is forever, is it worth all the trouble?
Boy, I'm liking the synth bass in there.
Yeah.
And I think that was reverse acoustic guitar at the beginning.
They run me like a spectacle. I cut to
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, drum and
drum and
bass.
switching gears, I'm pulling a knee-jerk first response. Now I'm feeling full. I didn't
Love it.
contain
This is very cool. Her vocals are so clear and crisp.
me unravel. Tangled in the thoughts of
Piano.
the dark.
Yeah.
Not a lot of piano in her music.
Silence in the shadows. You lift me up,
She sounds great.
me
Yes.
right back down again. Watch me unravel.
Okay.
Tangled in the thoughts of the tide. Silence in the shadows.
Another radio track, it sounds like.
Yep.
Me up to tear me back down. Unravel. Cursing the light, hailing the
Radio chorus, at least.
Yes. Yeah.
for what I dreamed to be true. Scratching my throat, painting me blue.
No, this is total pop music right now. Like Billie Eilish could sing this, you know?
Yeah.
Cut to the point. I'm
Dude, oh. The,
Oh, that. Yes, I love
yes,
that.
yes. That's almost purity
It's so
ring-ish.
dreamy.
Yeah.
I didn't contain the feeling at all. Watch me unravel. Tangled in the thoughts of the tide.
This reminds me of something, but I can't put my finger on it.
Shadows lift me up to tear me back down.
Because it's not like Evanescence.
No.
It's not like, I mean, Paramore, maybe. This is awesome, though.
Yeah.
They're not going to do the chorus a third time.
What a
Let's-
gateway song.
Yeah, let's go. Spread wide.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. Okay.
How very poppy of her.
However, it's not long enough. It needs to go back into the chorus.
Yeah.
You lift me up to pull me right back down again.
Boo, Poppy.
One
you-
more.
You
One
lazy,
more round through that would have been perfect.
You lazy fart. That was just. What a tantalizing.
That's the perfect gateway song for someone you're trying to effectively force to go through her entire progression of pop to metal in one song.
Yeah, yeah. Except that was probably way better than most of her earlier pop stuff.
Oh,
But, like,
sure. No, I just mean like conceptually
For
similar.
sure. Yeah, yeah.
It's like if
yeah.
I'm trying to finally get my sister to listen to something with some, reasonable aggression behind it.
Yeah.
This is a great first song.
1000%.
I made her a playlist like several years ago of like 50 songs, and it was 1 through 50 was basically like a slow like evolution from just regular pop music into like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas was like the last.
Dillinger Escape Plan or Cradle of Filth.
But, by the end of the list, I was like, you're never going to make it through the last like 5 songs.
That's a great idea. We talk about that all the time. And we've talked about that specifically with Poppy, too, about how she has done, I think, so much for bringing people who wouldn't be in the metal sphere into metal music. And, it's so funny. We were having those conversations way back on Disagree, I Disagree. We were having those conversations because I think look up when I Disagree came out. If I do it, my
I'm
computer
pretty sure
will
it's
explode.
2020.
No, I think it's before that. Because she's released several. She released Flux and
2020.
So
January 10th.
In the last 6 years, yeah. So she released I Disagree, then Flux, then Zig, then Negative Spaces.
Yeah.
Boy, what a 4-album run. What a weird
dude. Yeah.
What a weird thing.
What a force.
Okay, so and we've been championing her since then. And so I remember us having the big conversation at the time of like, man, she is doing so much to bring pop fans into metal, and now we have stuff like Sleep Token, and we have stuff like Bad Omens, and we have stuff like even Ghost, which unfortunately I heard my first Ghost album like a month ago. And so we have these things that are way more accessible than Poppy's like heaviest stuff. And I almost wonder if Poppy was influential in some part. I mean, obviously some of those bands I mentioned like Ghost and Sleep Token, those bands have been, maybe not Sleep Token, but like Bad Omens, like they've been around before Poppy was even making this music. So I'm not saying that, but like the acceptance of stuff like this in mainstream culture, like the fact that Poppy is kind of right up there with a lot of that stuff is really cool. And I like we talked about, like you just said, this song is perfect for slowly putting the frog in the water and boiling it to the point where it's dying.
Yeah.
So
it's wild. Like it's so meteoric. It really makes it feels like, well, she couldn't possibly have done this on her own. Like,
right.
And I don't want to take anything of this away from her either, but it's just to go from what she was into what this is now after in that short a time with so few missteps is like, if the world had not been blown into a trillion grainy little pieces of itself by the internet, this would be, she'd be mega.
Yeah, yeah. And I think she is still super popular. I mean, she is popular.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll see.
4+ million every month for sure. But like you'd hear about it on the news.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. See, to me, one of the defining things is like when I go to Target or Walmart and I see a Poppy album there, like I see Melanie Martinez and I see Olivia Rodrigo, which obviously 2 huge artists way bigger than Poppy, but like that's accessible pop music, but I also go there and I see Sleep Token and I see Ghost. I bought here's a Target exclusive Ghost album right here. So like when you have now, granted, I bought it on clearance for $12 because Ghost sucks so bad, especially this album, which is horrid. But just don't tell any Ghost fans I said that.
Don't tell Austin.
Well, just don't tell any Ghost fans because trust me, go look at the comments on our Ghost video. You'll understand. But yeah, I don't know. It's really cool. And like I said, we've talked about that specifically with Poppy before because Poppy is sort of an amalgamation of a lot of the things that we do like. It's Birthday Massacre and Lights put together in a really cool way. And I wanted to say too, in this video, like last year I heard 2 albums that I think personally were bands that were inspired by Poppy and specifically her style of making music in Not Enough Space.
Wish I could say I'd apologize, but I'm so stuck in a dream, and I've passed on.
And The Pretty Wild.
Tear off my skin, rip it all, feel the tension I'm feeling, crawl down the lines in a single
and I think Poppy is currently touring with the Pretty Wild. And I said they were my number 3 album of the year if they would have included any high end in the album, but otherwise it was my number 7. But like, I think that they did a better job on their respective albums last year of being consistent and doing the Poppy the pop music-iness, not Poppy. That's right. Poppy is such a confusing name, but like doing
we should change it.
We should. The juxtaposition of like the heaviest that they get, and then the softest that they get, or the most accessible that they get, like. They did a fantastic job, and I do think that I like both of those albums, maybe even a little bit better than I like Negative Spaces, even though I think that album's so fantastic. And so I was going to say, you know, in this video, like she has a lot to live up to, because whereas the year before, I thought that these screaming female-fronted metal bands were becoming like a dime a dozen, and none of them were really standing out to me other than Poppy and Spirit Box. Like last year, I found several that were really great, including the 2 that I mentioned. Again, Not Enough Space and The Pretty Wild, that I feel like did something a little different than Poppy, but still in the same vein to be like considered equals or peers. And it's very interesting. Like she has competition, I guess, to me now in my mind of like, okay, if we got another Pretty Wild album this year, like I could see it being better than Poppy's album, even if Poppy's album is fantastic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
Dying to Forget.
Yeah. Now on to
whatever
the first of many songs that have not been heard by anybody.
Yes. Awesome. So this is Dying to Forget in 3, 2, 1. Wow.
Well, what could number 8 be? Wow. What a thing to happen after the last one.
Yeah.
See, now that drop is earned.
Yes. The guitars are different, though, than they were on Negative Spaces, but I like it.
Yeah.
There's less definition in them. Okay.
Hey. I love it. Ooh. Time signatures.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh.
Savage. Relentless, man. Whoa.
Whoa.
This is savage, man. And she's still.
Yeah. I think she might be a little pissed
clean
off.
sung for chorus.
She sounds like she might be a little angry at something.
I think so.
You know, I think her voice is a little too compressed, because when she's screaming and then she comes back to that, like, at the end of her phrases.
Oh boy. Oh. It's like being inside an erupting volcano.
It's so funny because this is just like The Pretty Wild and Not Enough Space. That was
this
just
is savage.
Yeah.
God, did she?
Ooh, that woodblock hit.
Yeah.
That is a thing that all Gothenburg metal bands were doing in like 2003 to 2007. That's so awesome.
You know what that reminds me of?
Yeah, what?
It's something I tried very hard to recreate for something once, and I never could get it right. But the sound of the special attack from Mr. Grimm in Twisted Metal 1.
Okay.
When he sends it, and it's like
Yep.
that skull ghosty thing. It's like
Yes.
I tried so hard to figure out how to recreate that, and I could never really get anything decent to happen. And that weird woodblock thing that was just happening reminded me a lot of it.
Yeah. Oh, it's so funny because that's so weird that I noticed that woodblock thing.
Yeah.
Which I think that's what that was, a woodblock. But they were doing that on the In Flames album Soundtrack to Your Escape, which came out in I think 2003. And then in 2003 also is when Soilwork released their album Stabbing the Drama. And both of those albums have multiple songs where when they're getting heavy in like choruses, they just have this like wood block doing this. And it's this big reverby wood block. And it adds this weird like tone to everything. And it's such you wouldn't think that it would work at all.
Yeah.
But it totally like fills the space in with this weird like wooden hollow sound that's really cool and almost ominous.
Super cool.
And like In Flames would do it, they would go like dong 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 like, and it was just like behind the whole thing, and it was like a different layer. It was like a different frequency of like constant cymbals almost. Wow. And then the
interested to hear that.
It's so weird. There's no way, but like I wonder if they were like, hey, we liked when those Gothenburg metal bands from Sweden were doing this in the early 2000s. Like we should throw some reverbed out woodblock in there. But what a cool sound.
Mm-hmm. That is such a great piece of sound design. That just bringing that echo out on a woodblock, and that song is one of the heaviest songs ever. Like
it's good. It's not. They didn't go to the chorus a third time, which is a little bit of a bummer for me, but that's a me thing, not anybody else. And so like, but it was heavy. It was great quality. What I was saying with her vocals was when she was screaming, you can hear the compression on her vocals because when she's screaming, she does like a yeah. And then when she stops, she does like the little like there's like a glottal stroke.
Yeah,
there's like a glottal thing with her throat that all of a sudden like jumps up in like 5 dB at the end of her screaming phrases, and that almost tells me that I think that they may have recorded her voice with compression on it.
Okay.
And then the person who mixed the album or edited the album didn't bother to go through and automate each of those things down. And I'm not even saying it needed to be automated down. It stood out to me a little bit when I was paying attention to it, but I think on subsequent listens, I probably won't think about that and it won't stand out to me anymore. But like, it was something I noticed, like how compressed her voice was during the screaming part. But like, that's what you have to kind of do with screaming vocals like that. So really great though.
On the distorted, like, not the sung part, but like just the more sing-songy bit that was still had the heavy distortion. Like the sibilance and the breaths and everything else was exactly the same super hot level as the vocals themselves. So it was like, oh yeah, the compression on this is just up to like 1 million.
For sure. And
but and that's what distortion generally is too, is compression.
Yeah. Yep.
But
yep.
Awesome.
Yep. And then during the breakdown where everything got super big, you could totally tell that they were adding in those subsonic low frequencies synthetically, and it was awesome. Done to perfection, exactly the way that needed to be done. And I don't feel like you missed it when that went away and it was more of a choppy guitar part, because sometimes if you just have like a section of a song where all of a sudden there's a bunch of low frequencies that weren't there before, it was there in the song before that, but not as prominently. But also the guitars were doing more chunky, like lower notes at that point anyway. But that was really great. I wasn't expecting that coming now at this point in the album. So that was really nice.
And it's interesting because on Negative Spaces, The Center is Falling Out is like her song that is just that front to back.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And she still found a way to mix a catchy sing-songy chorus into this, which just feels like an evolution of it. Like, nobody makes this song and then has a clean chorus like that. It's just, this is too heavy to then have that.
Well, see, that I disagree with, because what I was just going to say was, if you liked that song, go listen to Not Enough Space and their album Weaponize Your Rage and The Pretty Wild.
Yeah.
And their album that came out this last year, because that's more along the style of those bands, which is a little bit more towards my taste. I love music or metal. When I first got into metal, the metal I enjoyed the most was harsh verses, clean sung choruses.
Yeah, true.
And that was very Gothenburg style, like In Flames, Soilwork, Raunchy, Demon Hunter, Anemic, that kind of stuff. And this is reminiscent of that, but very much Poppy's own thing. You know, I was going to say too, like on the previous song, the thing that we were kind of missing, I think, from when we were talking about her getting like the song Guardian feeling a little bit like average for her, or like more straightforward song. I think the thing we were missing was the idea that at any moment during a Poppy song, anything can happen.
Yes.
And she wasn't doing that. And then when we got to the Unravel, that happened, right? It's like all of a sudden it's the chaotic nature of anything can happen at any moment, like a lot of the Japanese metal we listen to, but even more like not feeling as hodgepodge as some of that stuff.
It's not as disjointed, but it could still be anything.
Exactly. Yep. Okay, now we are on to track 7, Time Will Tell. In 3...
Can anything get heavier than that last song? We'll find out.
I don't know. That's a good question. In 3, 2, 1.
It's never gonna leave you now, 'cause
I was going to say, there's no way this is a heavy song after that.
No.
follows you to
That's a corn riff if there's ever been a corn riff.
That is a corn riff.
postures to stay.
A lot less definition to it, though, and without the fieldy bass.
Stitches of time. Tell me, has it all
Oh.
been worth the pain? Why do all the crooks keep calling me home?
This is like nothing so far.
I open my lungs,
Ooh,
read all the
grooving.
smoke of another words. I've become a
Love that guitar.
force to change. I know all the iron will never stop. If you let it in, it's never gonna leave you now, 'cause time will tell. If violence follows you
I love the hi-hat. Like the fake, the synthetic hi-hat, the electronic hi-hat.
There's it's almost a sample.
It is. It sounds... Man. Yeah, that's the Here to Stay riff, I think. Or Thoughtless, maybe one of the songs off of Untouchables. Bum, 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 ba, da, ba, da, ba, dum, bum, bum, ba, ba, da, ba, da, ba, dum. But also fantastic chorus. Great melody.
Yeah. This is 3 different songs blended perfectly into each other. That guitar is so cool.
Yeah. I like the tom work here.
Yeah.
The drums. Tasty.
It's never gonna leave you now, 'cause time will tell. If violence follows you to time will tell. Pulling the veil over you.
I love the drums during the chorus. Ooh. Please do the chorus one more time.
There's time for it.
Just barely.
There it is.
Well, kind of.
What's missing?
all the rest of the instruments.
Unpleasable.
That's the second time she did that. That's the second. What is wrong with coming back to the chorus a third time and actually doing it? Why are people so scared to end the song on the chorus?
I will say there is something to be said for verse, chorus, bridge, and then when you come back to the chorus, you have almost like a key change, or like two different elements that were in the chorus before all come together at the last one to make it into something new.
Making it more climactic rather than ending it on the down, which but I think, she did that on almost all the songs on this album, and so I think I got a little bit spoiled with her last album. So that
was great.
That was great. More straightforward, kind of, but also I liked it. I liked it more than The Guardian. Even though I think it was sort of similar to that one, but I liked that one more.
Yeah, it was more interesting. And just some of the stuff, like the lower, the chill bits.
Yes.
Like with the synth bass and then like that guitar that would come in the back and then disappear. Like that's not really happening anywhere on this album so far.
No.
And there wasn't even anything I could think of that was like, I've heard this before and it's X. Like it's all
it's so weird though, because it does also feel like at the same time, like surely that there has been music made like this before, but then I keep thinking about it and it's like I can't compare it to anything really. Mm-hmm. And her voice is unique enough that no matter what she's doing, it just always sounds like Poppy, like no matter what she's doing.
Yeah.
So very interesting. And she has not sounded like Lights really at all on this album, which is something we were talking about in some of her previous stuff. So she's definitely intentionally doing a vocal thing here. And I almost wonder if it's like they're touring more, and so she found a way to like do her vocals more consistently, like night after night after night after night after night.
Sure.
And like this is the way that she has now found, like it makes most comfortable way for her to sing and do these different styles all together. Mm-hmm. Whereas I feel like if she went and goes back and does her I Disagree songs, like some of those, like she was definitely doing more harsh vocals in more harsh of a way. And especially like you mentioned earlier with that Eat EP thing, like, which is almost like mathcore stuff. So yeah, in some ways I feel like this album hasn't been as heavy because her vocalizations haven't really been that way, but it's also been more consistent, and every song has featured heavy guitars, I think, so far, right?
Mm-hmm. Pretty sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So interesting.
Yeah.
All right, now we're to the song we guessed earlier would be the heaviest one. It's only 1:50. It's called Eat the Hate. There's swear words, so she could be angry Poppy again.
Yeah.
Let's see what we get. We'll see. This is Eat the Hate in 3, 2, 1. Nirvana.
Yep.
Ooh. This one's really going to piss me off that it's only 1:50.
No doubt. No doubt, Garbage, 90s.
Okay,
90s,
yeah.
90s.
Also some Avril Lavigne.
Yeah. This belongs on Flux.
Yes, with the tone of the fuzzy guitars. Boy, a tambourine is so important.
You can never hide a tambourine.
No, why would you want to?
Right.
It makes it groovy.
This is so 90s.
What?
Boy, you want to talk about a low pass.
Yeah, there's nothing on the left side. Hey, this song has just as many choruses as every other damn song on the album.
The structure of it really lets it be as short as it is.
Yes. It's just a fun song, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But once again, we've gotten to this point where anything can happen on this album.
Yeah, yes, exactly. The fuzzy guitars came out of nowhere. I'm like, oh, this is how refreshing, you know?
Yeah.
But it still felt big and heavy like the album has felt. So very interesting. And yeah, that just seemed like a fun one. And definitely like you were saying, no doubt garbage. I think Avril Lavigne, like there was a early 2000s like pop rock, like Fifi Dobson, like all like Stacey Oricio, all the girls that were pop artists that all of a sudden Avril Lavigne got popular and Evanescence happened, and then they're like, we can use guitars in our music now.
Yeah, right.
When Jewel stopped being country and started doing whatever she started doing after that, like that kind of stuff. Hope Harlow. Oh my God, I'm just pulling these names out my ass.
I don't recognize any of these names. So,
but all that stuff. So. Yeah, so cool. I liked that one, even though it was short. So whatever. But if you're gonna do stuff like that, though, you should have a 20-song album.
You just can't be pleased.
No, because why don't people do what I want them to do? Damn it!
Right? They didn't even. And you told them. Surely you told them.
How many times do I have to complain about that people not going back to the damn song before all the bands on the planet are like, Patrick says we got to do it. Go back to it. And you know what? It wouldn't kill anyone to put a guitar solo in any of these songs either. I'm just saying.
There was a guitar solo in the previous song.
Yeah, that doesn't count. There was kind of. I mean, I could have played that guitar solo, so I don't think it really counts as a guitar solo, but I mean, whatever.
Guitar solo is guitar playing by itself. That's it does what it says on the tin.
Yeah. Okay. What are we going to get now? This is like so exciting, you know?
Yeah. Get some doo-wop next.
This is if there ever was a point for us to get to like, here's an electronic song, I think it would be this one.
I hope that this is a Metallica cover of the song The Weight.
Metallica has a song called The Weight?
Yeah. I think it's on one of the Garage albums.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
which I think would make it a cover.
So she's actually covering Black Sabbath or whatever band Metallica covers. That would be so badass, dude. Now I want Poppy to release a whole like album of metal covers.
Yeah.
Like, but not like throw up like crazy like like whatever like random old thrash metal songs. I want her to make. Actually, no, please, Poppy, don't make a cover album. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a good job. You're doing good work. Mm-hmm. This is The Weight in 3, 2, 1.
I haven't the time.
Purity Ring.
And I
listen to that.
can't
Listen to that.
contain myself, the lack of concern. That's all
Not a stitch of reverb on her vocals to be found.
off in the fade of rage. Either way or day.
Let's go.
Man, she's doing it again.
This could all be gone in a moment, or a persistent break the fall.
Listen to that.
In the back of your head, the sirens keep getting louder.
Untouchable, man.
So good. So natural sounding. I can't wait for the second verse where they're doing that with drums over it. Dude, shout out to the people in her crew.
Yeah.
What pleasure will you find if you entertain yourself? Same punch in the air. Watch the freedom causing you to lose your sight. This could all be yours in a moment.
If this song goes to the chorus a third time, this is song of the album. Dude, that.
This sounds so good.
It does. It kind of makes me pissed off about that first track. Why would you have that be the first track? Okay. Low pass world. We've entered low pass land. Kill me with it. Do something.
How does she know what I want all the time?
Those triplets on the kick drum. There's enough time for her to still do something before going to the chorus a third time. There's still time. Ooh, just pitch shifted vocals. Synthwave.
These transitions, man.
Yes.
No way. She'd rather give you this than a third chorus.
No, she did the chorus the third time.
Oh, well then never mind.
That was the third chord, not the bridge. That was not a bridge. The bridge was short. Oh, it goes right into the next one. I paused it. Do you want to just keep right going?
I'll pause it just so that I don't hear more because I'm at 5 seconds now.
Okay, so you paused it.
Yeah.
Go back to 000.
Okay.
And let's just keep going.
Okay.
Okay, this is If We're Following the Light, a 4-minute song, unheard of. Going from that into this, what are we getting? I'm so excited for this. In 3, 2, 1.
Totally different.
So far. Interesting. Deftones.
Some Metallica there.
Ooh, that was like a whoop. That was like a reverse distorted snare drum.
Yeah.
This is Deftones.
How does she do it, man? This is very Deftones. But, like, I like it. So,
yeah, you're right. And now it's the chorus.
Yeah. What a...
We're definitely not getting a third chorus on this song. Huh. But that's all right. Enjoy it for what it is.
She's determined to do every single type of music that exists.
I mean, it sounds like it. I want a blur. I want a dubstep section.
Yeah, she'll do it. Here it comes.
I mean, this is kind of, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious how this album is being received.
Same.
Is it getting like really positive reviews? This is so inspiring. It makes me want to listen. It makes me want to make music. It really does. And I guarantee you I'd put that third chorus in there, damn it. It just that it'd suck every time. And so would all the parts in between the choruses. Nice. Dude.
What a cool sound.
Yeah. Okay, yes. Should we keep going?
I don't know.
Let's keep going.
Okay.
Let's just keep going.
Oh, sure. 44 seconds.
Yeah. Okay, blink. Okay, now is ribs. You know what? I think empty hands might be a bang, like just heavy.
Awesome.
Yep.
Would love to know how to make that sound.
Just gotta find the right plugin.
Yeah, but what's your source?
I don't know. Just a synth.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. What's ribs? Okay. You know a band we haven't mentioned? Flyleaf. I think there's Flyleaf in this.
There's some of that, yeah, for sure.
Ooh.
What a string of songs.
Yes. The whole damn album, except for track 1.
Yeah.
Why? Why put your crappiest song at track 1?
To get it out of the way.
I guess. I mean, that's the one most people are going to hear when they go to your album, but okay, sure. This is Purity Ring. The treatment to her vocals is identical.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is, but it's... And then with that lower part behind her, the lower harmony right there with her, both dry. Wow. That crazy break beat. You know what I want? I want Pendulum featuring Poppy.
Yes.
Why have any restrictions on the planet? Just give me Pendulum featuring Poppy and I can die happily.
That's right. There's a lot of time left for that to happen.
Yes. Especially now that Pendulum's a band again.
That's right.
Ooh, that synth in the middle. Very crunchy sounding.
If I close my eyes, I can feel you.
Interesting. Ooh. You know, this song kind of has final song vibes.
It does.
So I'm really curious what's coming next.
Especially with the phone.
Yeah.
It's just turning into nonsense, which is very end of album.
What if the last track is just her talking on the phone?
Oh, that would be genius.
No, it wouldn't. Don't waste my time. All right, we're going to keep going.
All right.
She picked up the phone and said, hey. All right, here we go. Empty hands. Them are some nasty chords. Whoa!
Ooh! Woo. Good Lord!
I love it. Totally dry.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
Deftonesy again.
Yeah.
Oh.
Listen to that cymbal.
I kind of was hoping it wouldn't do any singing. Dude, this is great.
Every single moment is like, where are we going?
Yeah. Oh no. That's a slow beat.
Here it comes. Do it. She's not a real person. She can't be a real person. She ruined the quality of my video.
Yeah, and you know, if there was ever anyone that could, it would be her.
Man.
You know, when we were listening to that last song, I had a thought, and I was like, "Oh, I want to ask Chris this when we're done with this, you know, once we get to our overall thoughts."
Yeah, this onslaught.
But okay, so I have to tell you something. Okay. No, it's funny because yes, last night when I was editing the Megadeth video and I was on our Discord and I was talking, someone was like, hey, have you checked out the Poppy yet? And I was like, no, Chris and I are doing a reaction tomorrow. And then the person said one phrase and I was like, this lying sack of crap. We've listened to this entire album. The thing he said was pig squeal.
Yep.
And the whole album, I was like, this guy trolled me so hard.
He got you so good.
Because there's, and on one of the songs earlier, she did a little bit of like a blech, a little bit, just a little bit, not fully like metalcore blech, but I was like, this guy trolled me, whatever. And then we get to the final seconds of this album, and we get,
it ain't over till it's over.
It's just like, you son of a bitch. And when I say that, I mean that guy and also Poppy. Okay,
yes,
so here's the question I was going to ask you. What will future generations say about Poppy? Like, just imagine for a second that we zoom like 20 years in the future, right? You and I are old men. Poppy's still super hot and awesome, hopefully making music still at that point. She's in a super group with Amy Lee, who's also super old, right? And Spirit.
Amy Lee will be 100 in this scenario.
Still also super hot, right?
Yeah.
Not to objectify them, but hey, they're public figures and they are smoking hot. Not a big deal. I had 2 posters of Amy Lee in my room at different points. So
I think plenty of people will praise you for talking about how hot an 85-year-old woman will be. So.
That's true. Good point. Now I'll be 75 or whatever at the time.
Yeah.
So I think Amy Lee and I are pretty much the same age, around the same age.
None of the math here is working at all. But
it doesn't matter. as long as. Okay, well, I was just say something really bad there. Didn't say it, so that's good. But my question though is like, okay, forget all that stuff. Imagine if she keeps going like this and releasing albums that are so interesting, and just even think about her discography right now. How if you were to approach someone that had never heard of Poppy, like what could you even say other than like, here you go, like she's so interesting and so awesome, and just we have been saying this over and over with every album. Even when she made an album I didn't care for that much with Zig, and then never followed it up with Zag, which is a super. I still hope to someday we get Zag. I still hope someday. But
even if it's that album played in reverse, like
which she would totally do. But because she also has an album that's full of just noise that's terrible, and an
songs
album
to study to or whatever.
Yeah, and an album that's just chill too. So it's like, but like. I just think she's such a fascinating person. And
Poppy,
if this keeps going, what is going to happen? What can she do from here that's going to continue to blow our minds? You know what I mean?
Poppy is back in like 1970 something or other. There was like a plaque made of a bunch of various pictures and languages and like had music written to it, and it was sent out into space.
Yep.
And it was like, if there's ever aliens and they find this will be like a microcosm of the world as we live in currently.
Are you talking about like, calling all occupants of interplanetary craft?
I don't know.
Do you know what that is?
I don't think so, no. If like we need one artist to be a depiction of all of the music that humans have ever made, it's Poppy.
There you go.
Space.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep. Yep, 100%. So with that in mind, let's conjecture what kind of album she could make in the future, right? Are we going to get a country poppy album?
Yes.
Oh, don't. I kind of wanted you to say no.
I really hope not. But I do deeply hope not. But I was just planning to say yes to whatever your question.
The thing is, like, wouldn't it be cool if she did release like an acoustic album, like a a la Lights and her acoustic albums where they actually put effort into them, and it's not just acoustic guitar and her singing, like a Candlelight album version of some of her songs, or a whole album just made that way. She could do a little country western slide guitar on there, and I would count that. But then we also, like you said, you were joking around about doo-wop. Like, that would be so awesome. Imagine Amy Lee and Poppy doing like a doo-wop, barbershop quartet,
Yeah. I mean, Concrete is almost that. Like the pop elements of Concrete are very like I don't know,
bubblegum poppy. They're
walking on sunshine.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. 1000%. And there are multiple songs on that album that have that feel too. Yeah, for sure. So 1,000%. And it's so funny too, because then you think about like what music trends are going to happen over the next decade or whatever that she can kind of follow along with if she wants to, or create, like what's Bad Omen's next album going to do? Is it going to destroy the entire earth like their last album did? I was just looking them up earlier too, Chris. The amount of plays they have per month and stuff, and they deserve every play. I mean, we've talked about that a million times. Their new album this year should be like, hopefully, there's no way it can live up to Death of Peace of Mind, but if it did, and
I mean, we say that all the time, and then whoever it is will put out something that's just like, wow.
Yes, yeah. Well, sometimes, but we also have a lot of disappointing reactions we do here and stuff too. But okay, let's try to focus a little on Poppy and talk about this album. So I want you to think to yourself, Chris, whether or not you like. Don't say it. We'll say our thoughts at the end. But do you think this album is better than Negative Spaces? We'll get back to that in a little bit, but let's kind of go through the album here. So we were both kind of disappointed with track 1, I think. And it was kind of like, we were a little worried. And then once track 2 hit, we were like, nah, we're good. We don't need to be worried about Poppy.
That's right.
And so I will say the quality of the album was fairly consistent, but I don't think the most consistent. In terms of quality, I think Negative Spaces overall, I think has a bit more consistent quality, but Negative Spaces had a wider variety of genres.
Are you talking about quality of like
sound
production?
Recording? Yes, production quality, sound recording.
Yeah, I think it was more consistent.
More high fidelity, I feel, across the board. However, this album is more consistent in that I think every song had heavy guitars in it. Every song. Right? I mean,
somewhere, yes. Even the ones that didn't seem like they were going to eventually got there.
Right. I mean, Unravel was the song that had was the most electronic feeling, and it did have the heavy chorus. It did build to that. Got there. And it also had like a breakdown. So, and then every other song on the album did have that, unless I'm totally
Unravel
forgetting
had
something.
the piano, right?
There was piano, but then there was also like a breakdown too.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then there was Eat the Hate was the one with the fuzzy guitars. We can click on them and actually listen to parts of it. I was surprised how much. I almost think that Poppy sits and watches our reactions to other bands that we like, and then intentionally.
That's what I'm saying.
Like
earlier, I was like, how does she know? Because she's all over the place, genre-wise. She's playing all hundreds of different types of music, and it's like, how does she know to only pick the stuff I like? That she knows I'm going to like.
Because if you told me that she really loved Purity Ring's album from last year, and now maybe she was writing this album all last year too, but like, it makes 1,000% sense. That Purity Ring album, she had moments here that sounded just like that. And yes, it can be a coincidence and, whatever, but like, we keep saying this every album. She sounds like Lights, one of our favorite artists. She sounds like The Birthday Massacre, one of our favorite artists. She sounds like Purity Ring. She sounds like Spirit Box. She sounds like In This Moment. She sounds like all these things that just so happen to be like our favorite artists.
Right.
How many times
at this
can
point,
she... What?
I was thinking earlier, like, I haven't thought about who my favorite artist is in a long time.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about like the way that she is constantly not only putting out fire, but fire made of all of the other things that I would consider my favorite music. I would have to say she's my favorite.
Right. Fire that speaks to you. I agree. I don't think she's my favorite. However,
no. Right.
However, like there's a lot of stuff I like in music that she doesn't really touch, but there's a lot of it that she does. All of her electronic music is right in the pocket of the electronic stuff that I like. Her heavy music is exactly what I like. I do think that her singy choruses are a tiny bit generic sounding some of the times.
Sure.
Like her melodies aren't like, she doesn't do any, like on this album, she didn't do any fast vocals really at all. Maybe the heavy stuff she did. She was doing the, right. Not quite like the my favorite song from this album, They're All Around Us, right? That was stepping in the back with and the double bass.
Yeah, true.
Right. There wasn't really much of that. But like the only thing she could do that would speak to me almost more is if she had like some like rap feeling parts. I'm not saying she has to rap at all.
Yeah.
And I don't want her to necessarily do
but
that.
But she could. And I'm confident if she did, it would be
awesome. Exactly. And so she is just like combining all these things in such a good way. And I want to point out again too, we talk about this a little bit every time too. Props to the guys who make the music with her, because I don't know if it's one dude or multiple guys. We've talked about this before. We've never looked into it because we're lazy, and why would we do that? It's better for us to just assume things. But like, it's so consistently incredible that to me, I think it's like Poppy and then maybe one or two guys, maybe one guy that plays the guitar and then someone else that does the production stuff. That team, we say that every video. Her team is amazing. They have a grasp of what they're doing that a lot of full-fledged bands that have been around for a long time never get. Just, they know what they're doing and they do it so well. They're putting things together in ways that sound so fantastic. Okay, sorry, we got kind of out of the weeds. I do want to spend a little bit of time talking about the specifics of this album, though. So, please stop me at any point if you have something specific you want to say, that because I just feel like I'm the only one talking, which is just, that's how the way things go. But I will say,
it is your show.
I know. I will say for me, I enjoyed all the heavy moments of this album, but I feel like the production on the heavy parts wasn't as good as it was on Negative Spaces. And the moments where there was more electronic things being added to the songs is where I felt like I enjoyed them a little bit more. And so I think Guardian specifically, and then which was it, The Wait? That was the one that was like one of them. Maybe it was Ribs. That was a little bit more straightforward. There was two that we were talking about being a little more straightforward. Maybe it was Time Will Tell.
I mean, Guardian for sure. And then
Guardian for sure. And then I forget which the other one was. And I'm so sorry, everybody. Maybe it was We're Following the Light, actually. Yes, I think it was If We're Following. No, that was the Deftones one. Okay, well, so anyway, I think that the moments that didn't stand out to me. Okay, let's see if I can put this into words. I feel like the high moments on Negative Spaces were more impressive to me than the high moments on this album. But that's fair. Feel like this album was a little bit more consistent, and the mediocre moments on this album stand up more to me as being higher, enjoyable wise, than the mediocre moments such that there were on Negative Spaces. But I think, to answer my original question, I think I still would choose maybe to listen to Negative Spaces before I chose to listen to this album, but I need to obviously listen to this album, spend more time with it. I would be shocked if this album doesn't make it on my top 12 for the year, and I think that it could end up being in the top 5. And if I listen to it all in a row and I enjoy it and every song is a bop and I start to sing along with it, then it could end up being in the top 3 or 2 even, maybe, you know?
Yeah, I think the fact that you're already at that level with it over previous experience, as far as I'm concerned, means it's like a lot of times you'll listen to an album and be like, man, I like it even more than I did when we reacted to it. Like, that's something that we keep coming back to.
Yes, that is true.
Almost to the point of feeling bad. Like
that is true. However, at the same time, though, I did notice, like last year, there were several albums where in the reaction I said, I would be shocked if this album didn't make it on my list. And then it wasn't even a consideration on my list. So I know that
there's a lot of year left
too.
And we've already got your new birthday coming up soon with all 3 of those albums on the same day, like you mentioned.
Yes.
So it is going to be quite the competition, I suspect.
And I hope that's the case. You know, I hope that everything we listen to this year does, that I'm excited for at least, that it does have good enough production that I don't have to be disappointed in something because of the production.
Yes.
You know, I'd rather be disappointed in something because they were just doing something that I didn't care for, or like it does frustrate me on this album that she just insists on having songs that are a third too short because they don't have that final chorus. And it's not like she always does the chorus. You know, that was one of the things I didn't care for with Zig, was that all the songs felt short to me. And a lot of the songs on that album were just first chorus, and then that song was basically over.
Yeah.
And that was a pop album. Like, there wasn't any heavy guitars or anything on that album at all. And so, but even besides that, I think that the the nature of the structuring of the songs, I liked more for Negative Spaces rather than this one where I felt like, oh man, it would be so cool for you guys to just go back to but they were doing kind of the Birthday Massacre thing where the Birthday Massacre very consistently does verse, chorus, and then the bridge kind of changes or maybe does like a heavy part from earlier in the song and then just repeats it a bit. And then that's the end of the song, but without going back to anything from that the song previously referenced. So I don't know. What are your overall thoughts on the album?
I think right now it's tough to say that I would listen to this over Negative Spaces because I have so much more experience with that previous album. And I like it so much. But there's also the element of like I would go to this one first because it's new and I want to get it to that place that the other one is.
Sure.
So I guess you could boil it down to why I'm listening to it. I do think side by side, Negative Spaces is a little bit more perfect to me than this one. For various reasons that I can't really nail down, if only by virtue of that first song being surprisingly weak. But I'm so thrilled with the way that she just cannot help but go genre wandering. Like she just never sticks to anything. Like when you said that maybe this whole album will be heavy, shame on you.
Yeah, I know. I should. But it kind of
even
was,
though you were mostly right because it's in every song.
Yeah.
But I just remember the last album when we got through those first three and then Crystallized or Crystalline or whatever came on and you're like that's it. This is blown apart. Let's go.
It could be anything.
It could be anything now.
Yes.
And that she's definitely carrying that torch through to this one. And I don't know. It's definitely going to be my top 12. There's just no way. But a band that I just discovered a little bit ago, a band that has not put out an album in 20 years.
Oh.
Has brought out album number 3.
Oh, Proto Man.
No. The Format.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Nate Ruis, the lead singer of Fun, his previous band.
Yeah.
When both of those albums, the Format has 2 albums and they're both fantastic. And so this is like, oh boy, are they going to still got it?
So they have a new album coming out?
It's out and it landed yesterday.
Oh, sweet. So it's in the current year. So good job, Chris.
That's right.
Make sure we listen to it. Okay. I will say I do think that she did the genre hopping thing more on Negative Spaces. Like it's a wider variety of things, I think. Because there were whole songs that had no distortion on it at all, on Negative Spaces, whereas this one kind of always came back to that element. And I don't think that this album was as heavy as Negative Spaces. I think Negative Spaces had heavier moments that to me made it heavier overall. And
interesting.
That's not, I don't know if I can
I
say
feel like
that,
the
though.
heaviest stuff that she's ever done happened on this album.
Oh, I don't know if I would think that. I think that there are moments on I Disagree that are like, and especially that Eat EP thing.
Yeah. Well, see, now we've got a problem because we still haven't done any videos where we like sufficiently nail down concretely what heavy means.
Oh, that's a great point. That's true. That's true. I do think that the compression on this album made it a little harder for me to enjoy the super heavy things like Empty Hands.
Yeah.
Like I do think the production was holding back the heaviest moments of this album, whereas I feel like they were really shining a lot on like the breakdowns and things like that. I feel were shining more. And then I keep going back to They're All Around Us because I think that's just such a fantastic song.
So good.
And I think it may be my favorite Poppy song. And
there's no song on this album as good as They're All Around Us.
I agree with that. And this album leaned more towards the like new way out style of song that was a little bit more Birthday Massacre-y with like more electronic-y parts in the verse and then big chorus. But I'm so happy that they found a way to do it and make it feel so natural, you know, and she did exactly what we say all the time. They left all of their ideas. They did them in the studio. They left everything in the studio. I feel like they didn't hold anything back because they couldn't perform it live, which I'm very happy that they did. Obviously, that's what I say every band should do. But when I was saying earlier on in the album that I think that maybe her touring because I swear I read something like last year from her saying that she was working on her vocal technique specifically.
And she has been. Like every album, it seems like she brings a new technique.
Yes, and she finds different ways to sing, which is so crazy that she can do that, and it's so awesome, and that's one of the things I think we appreciate.
And you know what's interesting? The placement of that pig squeal is almost like foreshadowing.
What's coming next? That would be really cool if that was the case. But I don't even know if I want her to be like super balls to the wall heavy, like not all the time at least, although that would be pretty badass. But like
it would be, but she's never going to do that because she just loves this genre hopping thing, and that's why we love her.
Right, and I agree. And I think that her next album, it's fun to guess like what the next thing is going to be, but like having two albums that are pretty similar in a row, I like that. And if this is the groove that they find themselves in as a band, and they've gained popularity a lot with Negative Spaces, and then this is like part of me is almost a little disappointed that I was somewhat disappointed with the production on this album, because I feel like they probably had a bigger budget on this album than they've ever had before.
I feel like I was like mentally comparing this to like, they polished it so hard that it cracked just a little.
Okay, I could see that. You know, I don't know. To me, a lot of it has to do with the low pass thing that keeps happening everywhere. And there were certain moments on this album where they were pushing that low pass on the guitars a little bit more. But the cymbals still did kind of stay above stuff, and her vocals always were the thing that shined through.
And it felt, the thing that we have that is so much different in the other bands with the low pass problem is that like it's just on.
Yes,
and then you get
it's on everything.
And this felt intentional.
Yes, 100%.
So at least there was that.
Yeah, which if anybody is wondering what we're talking about, you're maybe not super familiar with us. Earlier this year, there was an album released that could have maybe made it on my top 12 if they didn't do this, but it's one of the worst examples I've heard of this low pass thing. But I've been waiting for Beyond the Black. They're sort of a symphonic metal band. They released an album 2 weeks ago, so very beginning of January. And they did this thing. Like, you listen to it on any speakers and you can tell this is lacking high end. But I think that the high-end information is there. So if I burn myself a copy of the CD with the EQ boosted on the highs, then I think I would enjoy it a lot more. However, as I've said before, that disqualifies an album from... You can only take an album with what they've given you and was released, which is why that Pretty Wild
you can't put it on
album,
the top 12 after you make it better.
Right, which is why I said that Pretty Wild album I think is maybe the best album of the year, but they insisted on doing that, so that's why it was my number 7 instead of my number 3. Even though I think it was so good, it could have maybe even been my number 1. Mm-hmm. But I think that Beyond the Black, their most recent album, is a good one if anyone wants to look that up to see what we're talking about. Like, listen to a song from this album and then go listen to that, and you'll hopefully be able to hear the difference in the higher frequencies. Okay, this is all this video needs to be. Thank you all so much for watching this and listening to this album with us. This is such an important and special artist to us. I think Poppy has definitely surpassed Lights as the person we enjoy the most here on the channel, especially after Lights insisting on releasing album that disappoints us. Which, by the way, her new album, her A6 Plus,
Extended,
comes out this next Friday,
soon.
I think.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah, I think it's this next week, and it's like 9 bonus tracks on the album. So
does that allow it to be on the top 12?
I think you could make an argument, but you would. I think you could make the argument for that, because there's almost like, if the album is double the length, because the A6 wasn't super long.
Yeah.
So if it's like double the length or close to that, then I would definitely say you could.
Especially if you forgot it existed
last year. Yeah, it probably would have been in your top 5 to 3 albums. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much for watching the video. We will see you all next time. We don't have to talk that much at the beginning of the video, but I do want to do one thing, because there's always got to be something that we do.
Always got to be something to get in the way.
There's always got to be something. And so today I have a tiny bit of show and tell, and I'm doing this because I'm so furious at myself that I didn't do this yesterday, because these albums would have been way better in the Megadeth video.
Oh, sure.
But I have a stack of CDs off to the side here that I bought over the Christmas season when I was going to Goodwills and thrift stores looking for all the Christmas presents, the awesome Christmas presents that I bought for everybody. This is some of the stuff that I found at some of the Goodwills and things. And so I want to go through this stack just really quick. I'm just going to hold them up, say what they are, and we're going to move on. So if anyone sees anything interesting in this stack, let me know in the comments. And if there's something that we should react to, I haven't listened to a vast majority of these yet, let me know in the comments as well. So the first thing is a CD and DVD set of a band called High on Fire. And I didn't know what this was. I tried listening to it a little bit, and I enjoyed it. But this is like doom metal, which I wasn't. I thought it was going to be like screamo type stuff.
For whatever reason, immediately thought that was a Christian band. So
I don't think so. I wasn't paying attention to the lyrics or anything like that. I don't think so. But it's doom metal. So interesting, doom stoner tonight metal. This is a deluxe edition on CD, re-released from a 1970s album, I believe. The band called Love. This is a famous sort of like lesser-known psychedelic rock band called Love. And this is one of their most famous albums. It's got some bonus tracks and stuff on it. This was a really cool album to find. Bought that for $2.
Very 70s name for a band.
Yep, for sure. Of course, I now have 3 copies of the Target exclusive Taylor Swift Speak Now album, which you laugh, but on Discogs, the cheapest this goes for has ever sold for is $7. And now, if you wanted to buy this on like eBay, this is like $30 CD here, because it's the original version before all of her lawsuits and stuff. And this is the one that comes with the bonus disc with all the Target exclusive songs.
It's just so funny to say that the Target exclusive that I have 3 copies of, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it makes sense.
If I find it's a good idea for anybody watching this. If you find a Taylor Swift CD anywhere used for almost any amount of money, it's a good idea to purchase it. It's a good financial decision. But especially if you find something like this, Target exclusive versions are really awesome, because like in the regular version of this, Chris, she has a purple dress on.
Oh, wow.
So this has the Target red dress on, which is how you can like distinguish it.
That's, I guess go all in.
Yeah,
Target,
they do.
well
They
done.
do. And a lot of them just have like stickers, but a lot of them have exclusive vinyl covers and colors and things like that nowadays. Mm-hmm. But anyway, just go through this pretty fast. Martin Gore's solo album, I think it's called Counterfeit too. Yeah, it's all cover songs that he did. This is one of the guys from Depeche Mode, Chris.
Okay. I think I recognize.
Yeah,
this name.
I was unaware of the existence of this album, and I can't believe it. But this is an album that he made right around the time Playing the Angel, I think, came out, which is one of my favorite Depeche Mode albums. And this is mixed exactly the same way. It's did listen to this one. This is fantastic.
I really like how every time a band puts out a cover album, the name is always like a little cheeky.
Yeah,
sort of
word Counterfeit, Under the Covers. How many cover albums are called Under the Covers?
And then
hundreds.
And then Firewater's cover album, which is songs we should have written.
Oh, that's clever. I like that. Then we have The Roots. This is a deluxe edition of their album Phrenology, which is one of their most famous albums. This comes with a DVD, I think featuring a making of. I have not listened to this yet, but The Roots are a band that has always interested me.
Interesting thing about that. Firewater has an album called Psychopharmacology, and is that true? Yeah, and I believe the artwork is very similar on the front.
Let's see if we can connect every one of these to Firewater.
Please. Everybody should know about Firewater. I'm desperate for them to do one more thing so I can see them live before they all disappear or whatever they're going to do.
For sure. And then I have over here the soundtrack to one of my all-time favorite movies.
Sucker Punch.
I love Sucker Punch so much. Fantastic. And for those of you who don't know, this soundtrack is fantastic because the movie was originally written by Zack Snyder to be a musical. So all of the music performed on this is performed by the actors, and the music is all made by it's all custom made for this, and it's all like orchestral and crazy. Then I have Brian Wilson's Gershwin album, which is pretty cool. Then 3 albums that are all from the same record label, and they're all very interesting. These are all CDs. This is Wilco, Whole Love or something like that.
Graham loves Wilco.
Yep. This is Arbor Labor Union. And then this is the Blood Sugar Sex Traffic by the Go to Beds. The Go to Beds. But the fun thing about all three of these CDs, including this Wilco one, they are all they're like little vinyl records in the way the artwork is made. So it's like a gatefold, and then there's a booklet, obviously, and then you pull the CD out, and every one of them is a CD in a little, cover by itself.
Isn't that kind of like a digipack?
Well, it's called a digipack, but the thing that's different is that the CD itself is in it's got their vinyl record version of this is the exact same thing. So there's no deviation. So it's just kind of interesting and different. Then I bought two. This is really cool, and I was excited to find these. There's a magazine called Prog, and it's about prog music. And each one of them, I think it's quarterly, and I'm not sure if it's even still a magazine or not, but at some point it ran. And it would come with a CD in the magazine. And so these are two CDs that were in the magazine for different issues. And it's very neat. It's got a little blurb about each of the bands. And on this one, there is the band's Amplifier, Koyo, Cosmograph. I don't know any of the ones on this one, but on this one I knew Lunatic Soul and Koyo again, Circus, Galahad. So a bunch of famous prog rock, prog metal bands.
I'm surprised. Wish You Were Here is the name of a Pink Floyd album, or at the very least a Pink Floyd song. So
I'm sure that's what it's a reference to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it's a reference to. Okay, so that's all that stuff. And then I have an incredible stack of CDs that I found. These were all unbelievable when I found these, Chris. So cool. Some of these are I'll just show them and see what people think. So this is Little Caesar. This is thrashy hair metal stuff from the 90s. Really interesting, different stuff. This is George Thorogood and the Destroyers with their album Haircut. Yes, they did release music other than Bad to the Bone. I already had a copy of this. This is Extreme 2 with their Porno Graffiti album. Everyone has seen this album cover. It's a very famous album. And then this is Bullet Boys with their album Freak Show. Very cool artwork. Look at the dudes in the band. Very Motley Crue-ish looking. Mm-hmm. This is Trickster, the band. Same type of deal. These were so awesome. These are all from the 80s, early 90s. They're original copies. They're in the heavier CD cases. Danger, Danger. This is hair metal. Very cool.
Attack, and
Action.
Action. Yep.
This is Slaughter.
My mom loves Slaughter, dude.
Yeah, and I'm sure this is their most famous album. All these were worth actually quite a bit, except for the Slaughter one you can buy for $1. The rest of them were all $5 minimum, and a lot of them have sold if you had a new copy from the 80s for $25. Megadeth. This is Euthanasia.
Nice. Okay, I know that one
from 1994. Mm-hmm. And then the best one I found, which is awesome. Exodus. Their albums can sell for, their CDs can sell for a whole bunch, and this is an original copy. This is thrash metal from 1985. And so this is Metallica, Megadeth, Testament era early thrash metal, and I wish I would have shown these in the Megadeth video yesterday, but I forgot about them. I've had them in a sack sitting by my bed so I can listen to them over time, and I haven't listened to almost any of these. So
I've heard of Exodus, but I don't think I've heard any.
Yeah, I've heard of Exodus as well, but just referenced in the famous thrash metal, thrashy bands. And
Do you still have space for these albums that you buy? Do you have an infinite shelf across the room?
No.
Okay.
Nope, I don't have space for them. So I've got to find ways to make it work.
Very good.
I'm not gonna not buy an Exodus CD from 1985. It's super rare, and especially because over the Christmas season, Goodwill hiked up all their prices to be utterly ridiculous. Vinyl records are now $4. CDs are $2. They went from 59 cents to $2. Vinyl records went from $1 to $4, which is ridiculous. But the most ridiculous thing, both hardback and paperback books cost $2. tell me what the point of a paperback book is, if not to be the cheaper version of a hardback book. It is asinine. Goodwill is asinine, and I hope nobody ever buys anything from them again, so that they have to lower their prices, because
you could
I
do better
can't
than
not go to Goodwill and buy cool stuff that I find. So